Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Nice to meet you, Ian.
There you go. Likewise, and how are you today? Apart from getting whatever the times were, an issue
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, all right.
I was
Thank you.
actually so good. Well, we will crack on because I do have a bunch of questions, and I
Cool.
do also want to. And I keep leaning right in front of the screen here. I should get further back. So I do have a bunch of questions. Um, Debut album. You're on a Grapevine tour. You've got your own tour of Australia coming up. You're about to tour with the Foo Fighters. You won about 87,000 South Australian Music Awards last year. That was my last count anyway that I had. How do you describe the ride that you've been on these last 12 months?
Um, it's been pretty crazy, but I think we ground each other. Like me and Talia are like best friends, and it's cool to be doing such cool things with your best friend. Like I feel like a lot of the experiences we're having are like crazy in itself, and I think it's just cool to be, yeah, on the ride with your best friend. It's the coolest thing ever.
I did review the album last week as well.
Yes,
Now,
credit. Thank you so
with,
much for your lovely words.
oh, it's a pleasure. It's an interesting one because I'm very much a metalhead, and
Yeah.
I've never been a female. That might shock you to know that, by the way. I've never been one. But when I listen to the music and especially the lyrics, like they're so descriptive that you just can't help but just get dragged, it will pulled into that storyline and feel like you're part of that storyline and relate it to stuff. I've written down some of the lyrics here because I absolutely adored some of the lyrics that you wrote. And how I read something on your Instagram that you had a journal. Is that how you do you write poems? Is that how you get them lyrics out there, or how do you just get some gold? That's what I'm just yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words. Yeah, I think yeah, I mean, we both journal, but I have like a little pocket journal which is like the size of my hand, and it's so handy to like chuck in any bag, like it fits in any bag. And I just bring it everywhere I go pretty much, and I bring a pen with me, and a lot of lyrics that I come up with, I'll just be like, I don't know, walking around town or on the bus or like just going about my day-to-day life pretty much, and whatever pops in my head I kind of write it down. And I think it's been really helpful to write physically versus like on my phone, because I used to write my lyrics on my phone and I found that it was like it kind of stunted the process a little bit, like I because you can go back and delete it whenever you like, but if you're writing with pen in a notebook it's kind of permanent. So I think it really forced me to like write what I'd written and like be able to look at how it started versus like where the lyric ends up, because I usually just jot down like an idea and then obviously like refine the words and stuff. But yeah, a lot of it comes from that, and then a lot of it just comes from being in the same room with Talia. I think we have a really nice chemistry, especially lyric wise, and we'll chuck ideas around for a little bit and then it'll come out with, a really perfect line or something. And yeah, I think that's mainly how it happens.
There's a lot of perfect lines. I've got to be honest. Like the comment that I made in the review was, I find that country music artists are the
Mm,
best lyricists. Like they can just come
yeah,
out with
right.
something that's mental. Or the people who write in toilet cubicles, they come
Yeah,
out with genius as well. Right. And,
yeah.
and I'm reading, I'm just going like some of them were serious genius. It's funny how it's typical you would change and now there's something cynical about your name. Like anybody can relate to that. Anybody's been through a situation like that. And I was just like, it's so simple yet so on point. And
Yeah.
like it's just it's and the maturity of that just like is absolutely really astounding. I mean, going through the album, going through the 13 songs, um, this might be a personal question. I get the impression that it is, well, I'm guessing it's about things that happen in your life,
Yeah.
or based on things that happen in your life. It does seem to be around relationships. Is it
Yeah.
about the one person, or is it about a selection of things that have happened?
Um,
And don't tell me if
the
it is one person who it is.
no, yeah, that's all good. I think like it's kind of about, if we really boil it down, it's kind of about two people. And I think it's interesting that you asked that question because I tried to I mean, like Talia obviously helped write with all the songs as well, but we're kind of drawing from my experiences and then broadening it out so it's relatable for anyone pretty much, which is really handy to have another person in the room. Um, but yeah, it's kind of about two people, and I think we formulated it so that the songs about the first person are on side A, which is the intro, or the intro and the closing song are kind of like their own respective. It just like encapsulates the album. I like to think of it as like a prelude and like, or prologue, whatever, the like the first, like kind of describing what
Prologue
the
and
album's
prologue.
about. Yeah, prologue, and then like a conclusion kind of thing. But basically like the second track to like track 6 is about the one person ish, and then the track 7 to like track 12 are about the other person ish. So like, and they're all kind of stemming from lots of different experiences. Because like there's a bit of Talia experience in there as well. Like, and I think we love to make our songs not vague, but just like sort of open. Like we don't use pronouns and we don't specific. I mean, Candy Apple gets pretty specific, but apart from that, all the other songs we tried to keep very just like open ended so that anyone can feel like they can relate to a song. Because I mean, as much as we love artists like Taylor Swift and Phoebe Bridgers who do get very specific with their lyrics, it's a great feeling to hear a song and be like, I've been through exactly this thing and I've felt exactly these feelings, and like feeling like you're not alone kind of thing. So that doesn't really answer
Yeah.
it completely, but it's, if you really vaguely, it's kind of about two people, but then like specifically, it's just about a lot of different experiences tied in together.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you mentioned that thing about we got back to lyrics earlier as well. I mean, it's even things like I mean I can relate to an awful lot of them as well. Even in Ruby Doomsday, the lyric I've got there, I'm holding on to nothing but I'm holding on to something. I think
Yeah.
that's how the
But
lyrics
at
are,
least
isn't it?
I'm,
Yeah, like
yeah.
yeah, but just something again so simple,
Yeah.
but it's so descriptive. Like it
Thank you.
actually does both effects with that there. And I like the fact that you mentioned both the first and the last song, although I think I wrote the lyrics wrong on it because the last song, Kaleidoscopes, by the way, is I feel like I'm just sitting here, just like jerking you off, basically, because the last song, Kaleidoscope, is like for me, it's one of the best songs I've heard this year.
Yeah, wow.
Coming again, coming from maybe an older perspective, I sit there and like I can close my eyes in that song and I can visualize what a music video would look like.
Yeah.
Um, and straight away, I'm thinking of the really big MTV videos of the late 80s, early 90s, because the song is that grand.
Yeah.
There's like there's so much going in there. There's the build up. There's the harmonies that are in there. There's the orchestration, um, and that's quite different. There's orchestration in the rest of the song, but that song itself's kind of quite different.
Yeah.
Um, is that an influence from Jared uh, coming in here, or does Jared do any influence really?
Um, that's a great question. Well, he, yeah, he's no doubt like really on a very similar page to us when it comes to production, but um I think it's like hand in hand. Like we always envisioned this song being, I mean, we wrote this song. This was the first song we actually wrote for the album, and we didn't know that we were writing an album yet. We wrote it in 2019 before we'd written our first EP, and when we wrote it, it just had, we just knew that it was going to close an album one day. We didn't know if we'd ever even get to write an album, but we knew we had to save it off the EP and like hold on to it for something bigger. And when this time came around, it just felt right to put it at the end, and it still does. But yeah, we always envisioned like, I mean, I think even since then, 2019, I would have been 18, Talia would have been 17, depending on the time, maybe 16. Um, but we always envisioned like there's got to be strings. It's got to be just a grand finale. I think we drew heaps of inspiration from um, there's a song Outer Space slash Carry On by 5 Seconds of Summer, which closes their second album, Sounds Good, Feels Good. And also, I Just Want to Sell Out My Funeral by the Wonder Years, which is like a huge closing song for their album, The Greatest Generation. So I think those two songs um, inspired it a lot. But no doubt Jared had a lot of influence on this record as well. And he's like, his production style is like right up our alley, and we're all open to trying pretty much everything. And his suggestions are amazing and definitely bring sort of a fresh perspective to the songs, which is cool. He's almost like the third member of Teenage Jones without being involved in the writing process. He's just like got a real knack for production, which makes it really interesting, I think.
So as we touched on at the very beginning, I mean, you're doing the Grapevine tour at the moment. Then you got
Yeah.
your own tour coming up, and then the Foo Fighters one.
Mm.
How's Grapevine going at the moment? Because you were in WA at the weekend just gone. It's
Yeah.
South Australia's Sunday. Where is it? New South
Yeah.
Wales Saturday.
Yes. Yeah,
So
Grapevine's
how's
really
how?
cool. Sorry. It's gone really well actually. It's our first shows since we've put out five things I can taste, which is cool. And then obviously since the album, we played our first show on the weekend, and the response has been awesome. Like, I think one song we really love hearing being sung back to us is Candy Apple. Like, we've been playing it for a couple years, and we haven't, it feels like one of those songs that you kind of need people to sing along to because it's just so like emotional and heartfelt. And it's just been amazing hearing everyone knowing the words, especially like, I know festival crowds can get a bit rowdy, but they've still been really respectful and like just like really passionate about such a slow, quiet song, which is cool. Um, but yeah, they've been really fun. The shows have been awesome.
So when you do your own tour, so excuse me, I've got a cold. When you do your
No,
own
sure.
tour in November, I think it is,
Yeah,
in a couple of weeks, you beat the Gov here.
yeah.
You'll be doing a headline show. Like, is that going to be like the whole album? Is there going to be other songs in there? Is it a
Um,
45-minute set and that's it?
nah. So we're doing an hour set for this tour, and we're playing most of the album. Um, but to be honest, because we're still a two piece, and we still for this tour want to keep it as authentic as possible because it's our first album. We wrote the whole album by ourselves. There's no co-writes or anything, so we're still trying to keep it really authentic. So there's a lot of songs that are quite tricky to play as two, which I think we want to work on in the future. But at the moment, there's a lot going on, so we're kind of just like pulling together what we can. But we're playing mostly album songs, and then we'll have a few throwbacks. Um, but we have been talking about potentially doing a show in the future where we put together a full band and even maybe a string section and stuff and playing the album from start to finish. Because that's obviously how it was intended, and I'd love to do that. I think it would be so much fun, but that's probably later down the line. But for now, it's going to be just a mix of everything, which is cool.
Cool. And I didn't get down last Friday. You had the thing in Rundle Mall. You had
Oh
your
yeah,
shop and
yeah,
people doing tattoos and things like that. What was the response? You went to Clarity Records as well. I mean, what
yeah.
was the response for that?
Oh, it was insane. I think, because I posted a TikTok explaining what was going to happen, and it just blew up. Like, it got like 50,000 views. And there was like, we were upstairs at Adelaide Arcade, and there was a line out the door pretty much from one end of the balcony to the other, which is like,
Hmm.
I don't even know, probably like, I'm not sure for people at home who read this or whatever. I'm not sure how big that is, but like I reckon throughout the day there would have been at least like 500 people through the door. Like it was non-stop from 10 a.m. when the doors opened to like 4 p.m. when we shut. But yeah, it was crazy. Some people got there at like 7 a.m. to line up, which is pretty crazy. And yeah, it was just amazing. It was a great day. We had it was cool because it was during school holidays as well. So we had a lot of young people come
Right.
through. Someone brought their like newborn baby who was like 2 weeks old. Some people brought their like younger kids and toddlers and stuff. And it was really cool. It was a good fun day. But yeah.
Yeah, cool, cool. Um, yeah, because I'm in Adelaide myself as well, actually, but I couldn't get down on Friday. I had to work, had a day job I had
Yeah,
to go to, which
I
was
know. I
really
think
annoying.
it worked in
Um,
the favor of people who work in the city because they could come on their lunch break, or people in school because it was school holidays. So yeah.
yeah. Well, that's the 15 minutes up exactly. I
Oh,
think
cool.
spot on,
Yeah,
bang on
sweet.
time. Um, well, good luck this weekend, and obviously, look, we'll most likely. I think I've already put my request through to Janine. I'll probably see you guys when you play at the Gov anyway. I
Yeah,
think it's the
cool.
9th of November. So see you
Sweet.
guys there, and I hope you just
Yeah,
keep getting
awesome.
great feedback with the album because it really does deserve it. I just think it's not normally something I would go towards, but it absolutely
Yeah,
blew my
right.
mind when I listened to it, and I
Oh,
do say that wholeheartedly. So thank you.
thank you so much, Ian, and thanks for the review as well. I read it; it was amazing. I loved it. I loved that line about the country lyrics and bathroom poets. I feel like that's very spot on. So thank you so much. And sorry I was late as
No
well.
problem.
Got all my
Uh,
times mixed up. Cool. Have a great
you're a rock
day.
star. That's what happens.
Yeah.
See you now. Take care.
Thank you. See ya.
See